Hi everyone, it is a beautiful Saturday morning for the North Country Trail. It's 40 degrees out, the air is crisp, the sun is trying to peek its way through the clouds, and I am on my second hike on the North Country Trail. My first one started at the Ohio border and ended at Pittsford Trailhead, and now I'm going to do Pittsford Trailhead to Hillsdale County parking lot, basically, about 13 and a half miles. So I have traveled along the way to get here through backcountry roads in Michigan, passing by tons of awesome farms, honey for sale, eggs for sale, Christmas tree farm, all kinds of cool stuff that I have never seen before. So it's just great to see America, chugging along and all this farm country around here. So I'm excited to get started, and I will let you know how my hike is going along the way. We parked at Pittsford Trailhead parking lot, which is where we ended our last trek. And it was much different than the Ohio-Michigan border, where we walked along dirt roads and through a bunch of farms along paved roads. This is completely different, stark difference, where you're totally walking through the woods in along the North Country Trail, walking along dirt pathways. It's very hilly, and we saw lots of spring growth plants that we identified that we could eat, and we saw tons of diseased trees from ember ash borer. It was super sad, and you have to be mindful of where the markers are. The path is pretty easy to see, so it's not that difficult to navigate, but you do need to be mindful because there are some trails that go off here or there, and you will see the blue North Country Trail paint line along the trees, on the trees, so that you know that you're in the right direction and this is the way to go and which direction to take the next time. It did take us a while to go through the first part because we did stop and look at a lot of plants and identify trees. And this was the first path for me where I had to walk down steps on a trail because, remember, this is my second hike along the North Country Trail. And so this is the first path for me where I had to go down some steps that was put in for the North Country Trail. And it was fantastic. It was also the first time I had to cross over any type of water. And so this log was pretty narrow that you actually cross right here. I wasn't that scared of crossing it, but since it was my first time, maybe I had a little bit of trepidation, maybe I didn't, but I did really well crossing it. And so I wanted to give you this vantage point of what it looked like coming down those steps and crossing over that log from here. At this point, we knew we were close to Dottie Cave, and it is unmarked. So you go past that big tree stump that you saw there, and unfortunately to the left was some kind of junkyard or something. And so this is what the trail looks like on your right when you're going down. And then once you get down that steep trail, and I also give you a vantage point here, these are the caves right here. Once you go down that steep trail, you will be rewarded. All right, if you guys are going to go look at the creek, I'm going to go get behind the tree. This is absolutely such a cool area. We took a side trail to see the cave. It's not very far off the main North Country trail path, and it is definitely worth the hike. It is a little steep coming down, but it is definitely worth the hike, and you can see it way back there in the background. How cool that is, those caves. We did not go in, but we did take a ton of cool pictures. It was a short 10-minute hike before we got to the first road that we crossed, Scusi Road, and we can tell immediately when we crossed it that the terrain was different. You could smell the pines and see the beautiful pine trees everywhere. We also crossed some amazing mushrooms before coming across our second ravine that we had to go over before coming to a beautiful campsite. While I was walking down these steps, I tried to give a viewpoint of what it was like to walk down these wooden little steps on the trail that they had created, and what it was like to cross this little creek that we had to cross. It's really hard to tell, so my recommendation, as always, is to do it firsthand yourself, because you really cannot experience what it's like to walk trails or to hike mountains or anything like that unless you do it for yourself. So I highly recommend it. This is the campsite that we came across, which is a super awesome campsite with a little creek over there. And then we came upon this spiritual tree that we gave some homage to and a little bit of love to before we came to lake number 8. And I was so shocked when we came across it. Wow.
We decided 2 weeks ago that the beaver probably hasn't been very active here in quite a while.
Holy cow.
Cool.
I had no idea this was going to be here. This is gorgeous. Where does this water come from?
So I think this is like one of those puddle areas where there's just a big hole in the depression, and because the beaver backed it up, it made this a larger area.
Wow. After taking a pause for a few quick photos, maybe 14 or more photos, we soon came to the Lost Nation Trailhead at Gilbert Road and took a right. It wasn't marked very well, so I want to let you know that we took a right onto Reading Road before crossing the East Branch St. Joseph River before coming upon the Pittsford shooting range, which, don't worry, you're not going to be in the vicinity of the shooters, but we still had orange on. And so we once again crossed the St. Joseph River before coming upon lake number 5 and almost getting to our halfway point of the trail. The first part took a long time because of the many number of photos that we took. Hey everyone, halfway through the second hike. It's 13.5 miles, so we are halfway through my second hike along the North Country Trail. Last weekend started at the Ohio-Michigan border. This weekend going from Pittsford Trailhead to Hillsdale parking lot. And so this is much more hillier than the last one that we did. Not as many farms, drove through farms on the way here, but the trail is actually through woods. Natural trails. It reminds me of home with tons of beautiful trees. I just love it out here. So, got another 6 more miles to go. These maps show you the halfway point on this trek, and then I'll show you the rest on the next video. Hi everyone, I just pulled into my driveway after hiking 14 miles on the North Country Trail through Lost Nation's reservation, which was absolutely beautiful. And it was hilly up and down. Halfway through, I pulled something in my leg and I thought, how am I ever going to finish this? And right at that moment, we came up to a log that we had to, a higher log where I had to lift my leg up to cross over one of the ravines. And I thought there was no way that I was going to be able to do that. And then there were about 4 more that I had to cross after that. But what I did was I took a couple of Aleve because I do have some leg issues every now and then. So I took a couple of Aleve and then I focused on how I was walking. And what I noticed is that I wasn't really walking correctly. So I changed how I was walking. And once I did that and made sure that I was evenly walking with both of my legs, it just got so much better after that. And it was so much easier, even easier than before I pulled whatever I pulled in my leg. And so I was just so happy that I was able to finish it because I am the novice in the group, and the other three women that I am hiking with have so much more experience than me. And I thought that I just thought and felt super bad. Like here I am the novice and I'm not going to be able to make it, or I'm struggling. And here they've, hiked the Camino and hiked in Chile and hiked in all these fantastic places. And this is my second hike. And, I pulled something, but I pulled through. I pulled through and persevered and hiked the rest of it. And they cheered me on and they were just fantastic. I learned so much on this trip with them, and they showed me so many edible plants along the way and talked about so many great experiences that they've had, and showed me how to use a GPS coordinates and other things like that. That I just feel like today was just a blessing to hike along the North Country Trail with some like-minded women, and just really enjoyed the peace and the solitude and the company and the conversation with them. So I'm really looking forward to my next hike on the North Country Trail. It probably won't be for a couple of weeks because I have some other adventures that I'm going on other than North Country Trail for the next couple of weekends. But I really look forward to getting back on the trail and going on my third hike and third section of the North Country Trail here in southern Michigan. And so I will see you next time on the North Country Trail, and I hope that you can take a hike with me.